like them too. Bam! Welcome back to Talkin Options. Imagine having your personal psychic or your personal genie. Well, let Talkin Options be that for you. Why am I saying this? You need a weekly report to know what's happening in the upcoming week. Why do you need a weekly report? Because it's providing you with weekly predictions, weekly explorations on what we can expect to happen in the market as far as economic news. I've talked about Forex Factory, I've talked about Daily FX and how they have these economic calendars. You guys probably don't check it out every day. And that's why I'm going to be here to show you what's happening in the market, whether it's the euro, whether it's consumer confidence, whether it's CPI, unemployment, what's coming up where you can make that weekly manyan, that weekly paycheck. That's what Talkin Options is going to give you every single Sunday starting now. All right, so we're looking at some high-impact economic news that's coming out for this week, what we can expect, and where we're going to see some high implied volatility, right, as well as liquidity. So today specifically, we have ISM manufacturing PMI that's coming out, and I'm looking at Forex Factory right now. One thing that I like about Forex Factory is you can see a graph as well as the actual previous and forecasted for last month as well as other months before, so you can see kind of a trend on what's happening with the PMI overall. Just a brief summary on what the PMI is. You can see it right here. It levels the level of diffusion index based on a survey of purchasing managers for the manufacturing index. So these are the managers that are purchasing from the manufacturing industry. There's also the non-manufacturing PMI. I believe that one comes out on Friday. But what this does is it shows economic health. So businesses react quickly to market conditions, and their purchasing managers hold perhaps the most current and relevant insight into the company's view of the economy. So this survey of about 400 purchasing managers, it shows the conditions as far as the unemployment or employment of the company, production, new orders, prices. So this can give you kind of a key indication on how the purchasing managers are doing overall for that country. So for example, right now we have it at 53 is what the forecast is. 52 is what it was before. And a reading of above 50 is considered to be the industry in expansion, while it'd be in contraction if it was under 50. So right now we don't necessarily know what's going to happen, but we do know that this is coming out at 10 a.m. and that's really important to have just a key indication on what's happening as far as fundamental wise on the underlyings that you're trading, so that if you see a spike in volatility to the upside or the downside, you know why it's happening. So that's Monday. And we have some news that's specifically coming out on, I think, Thursday and Friday. I don't really trade the Aussie dollar, but you can see that they have some high impact news that's coming out on Tuesday. Again, one thing that we love about the futures market is it's open 24 hours a day. So you can trade whenever you want. The stock market is open from only 9:30 to 4. So you have to trade in between that time. But the futures market, because we're dealing with different currencies from different countries, you can trade different underlyings at different times. So that's what's happening with the Aussie tomorrow. And then we have Federal Chair Powell, who speaks at 9:55. That typically can have some high impact on the market as well. You can see on Wednesday, we also have some high impact news that's happening at 10 a.m. with the U.S. This is the non-manufacturing PMI. So the previous one was the manufacturing. This is the non-manufacturing. So expecting some sort of volatility there. 2 days that I want to specifically focus on, though, is Monday, but really I want to focus on Friday, because Friday is when we see a lot of volatility specifically for Canada and the U.S. So the first Friday of every month, what comes out? Non-farm payroll announcement, and that is a really big mover for the U.S. Dollar, especially that and unemployment. So both of these announcements comes out on the first Friday, and you can see that you have the red there because it definitely will be moving the market. Now, one thing that I saw on an article on CME, let me see if I can pull it up here. They were talking about how you can trade options on futures, especially during economic events. One thing we love about options, again, you don't have to specifically choose a direction. So in this case, what they were talking about is how you can use neutral strategies to trade the market. So you can use straddles and strangles, or you can use more conservative ones like a calendar spread or a butterfly, where you're hedging your positions on both areas. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you may want to Google that, straddle, strangle. I'll probably have some videos that talk about it in the future as well. But if you just wanted to take a position where it is directional, remember you can always do a long put or a long call, which is a bullish or bearish position respectively. But in those two cases, what you're able to do is still trade the market and be directional while hedging your risk, because the most that you can lose in that case is what you paid outright. So this is a really cool article. I'll put this in the bio as well, in the description rather, so you can see what you can check out with the CME group, because they always have a lot of good information. I also saw this article here. This one, oh, this talks about covered calls. We'll do that for a separate video. Going back to the charts, though, I want to talk about the EURUSD, because I did mention, again, high impact news that's happening on Friday with the US dollar, unemployment, and non-farm payroll. So we're going to see a lot of volatility in the underlying. Just taking a look at the euro against the USD, you can see that we've already seen a lot of volatility right now. Seems like we have a downtrend when we're talking about overall from about October of last year. But if you are an intraday trader or swing trader, you'll probably be looking at the more 5-minute charts up to the hour chart. So again, still a lot of volatility. What you'd be able to do in this position is you can catch a pullback after the news. You can set up a straddle, strangle, or you can set up a single leg position, which would be a long put or a long call. I'm going to actually draw a Fibonacci level here, because it seems like we have a really good level with the EURUSD. Dancing on that 61 a little bit. This is a 30-minute chart. See what happens when I bring it down to the 15-minute chart. So I typically use this level if I was looking at more of a swing trade position, but since I want to look at this for a day trade position, I'm going to measure from Friday to Sunday. So we had a nice pullback here to the 50 level, 38.2, kind of 50, dancing in between. And then you can see we had some up movement. So I'm not going to do a trade on this right now, but I was just looking at, as far as the levels, if we're seeing any good levels to take some good plays. You can see that if we were even to drop this down to an intraday level, though, it seems like we may have a pullback to the upside happening right now. But really what we want to see is what's going to happen on the upcoming days, especially when we're looking towards Friday. So again, just wanted to make a short video on how you can look at the economic events that are happening and what's coming up for that week so you can set your trades ahead of time. So I already know that Friday is going to be a really volatile day for Canada as well as the US dollar. So those are going to be two underlyings that I'm watching and I'm paying attention to for when news starts to happen.